Okay, guys, well, I have a couple of very interesting atmospheric events that have occurred in the last week. And the reason that I do find them significant is that we have had a lot of space weather and pretty intense energetic activity over the last week, pretty much from the 29th of September when we had that huge filament eruption, and then we had that huge proton event and radiation storm. And yeah, now it seems that there are a couple of other very unusual atmospheric events that were reported, and this one was in South Africa and was reported on the 30th of September, the day after that filament eruption. And so what happened was a lot of people saw this event of this star-like object grow a halo, and then it floated through the sky and then eventually shot up with sparks shooting out from it and went behind the clouds. So this is reminding me of actually a lot of the events that I was seeing in 2011. A lot of these objects are coming into our atmosphere and they're reacting energetically as they're coming into our atmosphere. And as they consist of compounds that react differently than perhaps we have seen before, because, we have to remember some of these compounds within these objects that are coming into our atmosphere may not even exist on our planet. And so these objects seem to react in this way. And there are a lot of similar events that were reported in the late 2000s. And then in 2011, it really picked up. And I do have a video where there's a compilation of a lot of these different events. And people blame them on UFOs and try and spin the alien stuff, and I'm starting to see this alien thing being regurgitated once again throughout even the mainstream media. So, maybe that's because they know that we're going to start seeing these unusual atmospheric events, and instead of us understanding what they are and viewing them not with really any fear, they want us to be freaked out and running to them in fear. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you're seeing all of this bullshit regurgitation about this, alien stuff, and even stuff that they psyop us into believing could be something along those lines. They catch us in many different ways. So just know a lot of these atmospheric events are just going to be occurring because of the highly energized atmosphere we have at the moment, when we have huge radiation storms that are causing auroras. And we got one, a red one, and that's quite rare. And so I think that we need to pay attention to these other atmospheric events, because red auroras are not very common. They're mainly blues and greens. Now, anyone that's also thinking that spaceweather.com is going to be giving us any good information of ISON, in their real-time Comet ISON photo gallery, forget it, okay? Because spaceweather.com are basically run by NASA. The guy that writes for spaceweather.com with all this information is Dr. Tony Phillips, okay, down here. Even says it. This site is penned daily by Dr. Tony Phillips. And when you find out who Dr. Tony Phillips is, okay, you just have to Google his name, and basically you'll see that he is a NASA employee. And when you go to click on one of his articles, wow, NASA's shut down. But isn't it interesting? Spaceweather.com isn't shut down. So the only information you're going to be getting from spaceweather.com is going to be censored and cleaned up and fixed up and tidied up, and we're not going to be seeing real photos of Comet ISON. They'll be completely, out of focus or something. I mean, I don't know how much longer they're going to try and stall showing us what ISON looks like, because we already know that ISON has a jet coming out the front. So, anyway, the red aurora, let's get back to this. This made me think of something, and this is in ancient prophecy. And the Hopi prophecy says, in the red Kachina, blue Kachina prophecy, that one morning you will wake to see the skies have turned red, have turned, blood red. And so it just seems to me that when you see red auroras, well, it just actually shows that that is actually something that could occur on our planet if we had enough electric charge in our atmosphere. So, the Hopi have been on point, and as I've said before, about everything else. So I just think that's something to pay attention to. That, we're seeing these red auroras that make the whole sky glow red. So I will link the Hopi blue Kachina, red Kachina prophecy under the video, and you can check that out as well. But anyway, I just wanted to bring you this story because it was really interesting about this phenomenon, and it was really good because a lot of people saw it. So that's what the kind of events we need to pay attention to. Ones where there's lots of eyewitnesses, and we know that we're seeing something that's very unusual, and it just happened to be the day after that filament eruption, and we had that huge proton event off the scales. So there you go. All right, guys. Well, as I said, I'll link everything underneath the video, and you can check that out. Okay, well, I'll leave it here, and as always, peace out.